Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting interview by Financial Insight. So we have just witnessed something very special by our friends at Kobold, where they have, the management team has been witnessing, some interesting presentations, which Mfikeyi Makayi is going to tell me a little bit about. Mfikeyi, how are you?
I'm great, thank you, 𝗲𝗏. How are you?
I'm well, and obviously exhilarated and inspired by the work that you and your team are doing. But before we get into that, are you able to just tell us what the rationale and thinking was for you to design such, one can only describe as sustainably impacting sort of a cohort internship program?
Yes, I think when we talk about building fantastic future minds, you can't leave the people behind. You can't leave the future workforce behind. And what we saw here today is how we've been preparing for the past 6 months, amazing young Zambian talent, given real life problems that we'll face during the build of the mine, and throwing them into the sea and saying, swim and give us solutions. And you could see that panel industry experts like Dr. Mulenga was also feeling like he was learning and absorbing, but also giving great feedback from his 50 years experience. So from these 12 young people who've been with us for 6 months and will continue to be with us for the rest of the year, we can see that the future for Zambia's mining industry is great. These kids came from different backgrounds. Not all of them came from engineering backgrounds, but were able to present solutions that would apply to any industry in this country.
And what's very interesting is that it's like you're thinking future mining when you look at the some of the projects that some of them have taken on. Are you able to just give us some insight in terms of what inspired the variety of projects that they came up with?
Well, we sat with my colleague 𝗲𝗏 and I said, these are real problems we need to solve, at least in the next 1 year. We need a reforestation policy. We need to understand the fact that this mine will produce a lot of water. What can we engineer into the future and starting to look for viable opportunities for supporting the infrastructure around 𝗀𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗁 into agriculture, into a recreation dam. So we had real projects, and we actually didn't have the bodies or the space to start committing to that, on top of actually having to do exploration, having to plan the mine and do all the engineering. And these were opportunities. We say, let's get these interns and give them these projects.
Right. Now, obviously, you guys are doing a lot of work with communities, and one would like to imagine that communities would obviously be very, very excited. Have you gotten any public feedback in terms of how having something such as this internship program can impact the community?
Yes, we were big on trying to get interns who are from within 𝗀𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴𝗵, within the community, which we did in this cohort, but we also wanted to ensure there was inclusivity from people from across Zambia. So you could see that it was a diverse group of people from different towns and from other parts of the country. And that shows those who had never lived in a mining town or been on a mine were able to come and move to 𝗀𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 and spend 6 months immersed in the culture of a traditional mining town.
Right. Now, in terms of long-term strategy, this is cohort 1, meaning that will there be cohort 2, 3, and 4?
Yes, there's a plan to have cohort 2, 3, and 4. Of course, right now, over a year ago, we were less than 100 people on the site. Now, with contractors, we're getting close to 600. So we're going to just continue doubling, and the work volume and the workload is going to increase. And there's different ways to create employment opportunities, either through internships, either through community labor, and even through semi-skilled or skilled hires. So the internship one is just one part of a bigger picture, but you can see that these are young, highly skilled graduates, but we need to do a bit more even within our communities. Right now, we're looking at a GCE program for our community staff who did not finish their full grade 12, but are working with us. So we looked at teachers who are within the catchment area to help them get their full GCE, because we don't want them limited by career opportunities and basic literacy levels into the future. So we've got different things that are designed through both our legal and community team to see how can we impact. But this is something you don't do as a once-off. You literally plan it year by year, and you have to make sure it's sustainable, because even if they don't work for Kobold or for 𝗲𝗏 in the future, they should be able to fit in any other industry. And you could see from the projects, not all of them apply to mining. There was somebody who presented on energy. I think everyone knows the challenges of power in this country. He can go work for any entity because his work was beyond a mine.
Right. And then maybe on a final note, we always take advantage to find out what's going on with the project. How are things being on by now?
Oh, they are ramping up. Next year, we plan to start our shaft sinking work. That is a massive piece of infrastructure that is central to building the mine. And that project will last 4 or 5 years as we start sinking quite a large diameter shaft over 1 kilometer below the surface of the earth. So it will require a lot of materials, a lot of labor, a lot of support and subcontracting opportunities. And in towards the end of the year, we plan to have a public services fair, just to invite Zambian companies, Zambian-owned companies, to come and pitch their services, but also to sort of matchmaking for some of the multinationals, because this project is a big project. It needs a lot of players, a lot of hands, but it also needs great companies and great people networking and meeting together.
Right, and with some luck, maybe one of the kids from the cohort will, eventually find themselves in the project.
We definitely want to make sure that they'll find themselves. I mean, we've extended their stay with us, and we're going to start attaching them to relevant teams and departments, and I'm sure a number of them will cross over.
Okay, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
All right, there you've heard it for yourself from the CEO of Kobold Africa, so stay tuned for more insights from this episode. Hi everyone, it's 𝗲𝗏𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗁. So we're still on the sidelines of the Kobold Metals Cohort 1 presentations, and with me is Engineer Wilson Mono, who's just going to share with me some quick reactions post the event. Engineer Wilson, welcome to the Financial Insight Show.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to speak to engineers, but today we witnessed something special, inspired by Kobold Metals. You were part of a panel that was listening into the presentations from the various students who are doing their internship program. Are you able to just give us what your quick reactions are, and how important Kobold facilitating things like this for sustainable mining in Zambia?
First of all, I'm impressed that actually you ran a very good program. I was told it was quite a restricted, quite a competitive kind of selection, but the students or the interns have shown capability of adapting to a situation. Their presentation were marvelous, and it looks like everybody is prepared to speak on the same page with of Kobold dreams. I was impressed to see a person translate from arts to come and do forestry, which is quite rare. In most cases in Zambia, our students tend to restrict themselves to just the core studies they did at the university or college. But the training program at Kobold shows that a mind can be actually changed and adapt to a new environment. And that's what exactly I saw. The presentations were very good, they were very focused, and they are actually of international standard.
Absolutely. And for us at Financial Insight, we're always keeping track on some key issues that ensure that the sustainability in many of the endeavors of entities. So were there any particular presentations that were close to your heart as an engineer?
There are quite. I think 4 or 5 of them were very close to me. Although 2 of them are still ongoing. But I was impressed with the one who did on the drilling, on hydrological studies. He really hit the nail on the head, and I've seen most people tend to believe that it's difficult to get information, but he was able to get that information, especially that they are able to use imago. Because I used something like that way back, but we're using VHS videos in the 90s in the UK. That presentation really reinvigorated my school time and application, which I normally do every day.
I'm Dr. Sixtus Mlenga. I'm here as a consultant to Kobold Metals on hydrogeology and geology as they design their project. As you know, Kobold is currently doing exploration drilling at Mingomba in order to develop potentially one of the largest copper mines that will emerge from the Zambian scene. Today, I'm here because they invited me to be a member of the panel to witness the presentation of projects that were done by their internees that they've had for the past 6 months. And it was a wonderful experience to go through.
Hi, my name is 𝗵𝗡𝗄𝗏 Makayi, and I'm the CEO of Kobold Metals Africa. Welcome to this special episode by Financial Insights of Cohort 1 of the Kobold Metals 2025 Internship Programme here in Kitwe.
Interestingly, 𝗏𝗄𝗃 produced more emissions from their 𝗴𝗶𝗵𝗹𝗶 than their rigs, which signals a need for investigation in their internal practices. So this type of analysis will not be possible if we do not track, analyze, and reflect in this manner. Moving forward, our recommendations as we plan to control and manage our emissions is: 1, we need contractors to be obligated to report these emissions. We need to convince them and tell them that these emissions that we do let out into the atmosphere need to be measured and reported. Secondly, as we get more complex and as the work proceeds, we need to look into carbon offsetting projects like reforestation, renewable energy, and waste and landfill management. Thirdly, we need to determine our own Kobold benchmarks for emissions, since we do not have local benchmarks that give an exact number for if you're doing well green. This isn't just about carbon, it's about operational excellence.
Now, this project would be incomplete if we did not make a recommendation to solve the biggest challenge we face when executing it: data collection. For us to track and mitigate our carbon emissions, we need a structured method of collecting this data, which is why we created the Carbon Emissions Tracking app. We developed it to ensure that we had a structured method of collecting this data. This Carbon Emissions Tracking app takes 3 forms. And firstly, the first part of it is a form, which is sent to stakeholders on a monthly basis for them to input this relevant data. And secondly, a database, which stores this data in a structured and tamper-proof manner. And lastly, a dashboard, which showcases all this data for management to see it in real time, which allows them to make quick decisions.
This project has shown us that sustainability isn't just a concept. It's a process that demands accountability, starts with data, and thrives through innovation. My name is 𝗀𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗀.
And my name is 𝗀𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗁. Thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗁. I'm a strategy and culture alignment consultant. Welcome to the Financial Insights Show. I was part of the panelists for the Kobold Interns project presentations today, and my mind is blown away. Every time that we work with the Kobold teams, I'm always excited because I believe that Kobold is doing an exceptional thing within the mining space. The combination of the AI and the 𝗀𝗏 strategy means that Kobold is pushing. It's pushing the boundaries, it's pushing the limitations, it's pushing how mining is done. And whenever we get to train and facilitate things for their teams, we're excited because we know that we're doing the work of figuring out how do we design an organizational culture that promotes adaptability, that promotes innovation, and that is going to make the difference that we are hoping for. Today's presentations were no exceptions. The interns were exceptional. A lot of them were presenting on projects that were outside of their academic backgrounds, but they did amazingly well. They spoke to real-life challenges. They spoke to solutions that we really believe are actually things that can make a difference, not only to the business, but to the community, as well as the whole mining industry. One of them did a presentation around SOPs, which I think are actually applicable across the mining sector. So once again, congratulations, Kobold. And we are excited to see how you continue to pioneer and innovate in the mining space, in the mining sector.
My name is 𝗚𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, and I hold a bachelor's degree in environmental health. I'm currently an intern here at Kobold Metals, an opportunity that I'm so proud of. During my internship journey, I rotated through various departments to learn their individual roles and how they integrate within the mining operation. And through this experience, I've learned that mining requires extensive planning based on accurate data, and that the adoption of technology is so crucial for improving work efficiency and ensuring safe operation.
Thank you, Alex. Good morning, everyone. My name is 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. I hold the Bachelor of Laws degree and a Bachelor of Business Administration. This is a snapshot of my internship journey at Kobold Metals. where I have been an intern for the past 6 months. Through the rotations, I have learned that sustainability begins by having the right systems, but it thrives through having the right people. Today, I'm not only skilled, but committed to mining and exploration that empowers communities, creates safe working environments, and protects the environment.
My name is 𝗲𝗂𝗶𝗵𝗹𝗶𝗴. I have a Master of Engineering in Civil Engineering from the University of Nottingham. During my internship at Kobold Metals, I worked on a project to quantify the carbon emissions of the 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗃𝗵 exploration project. We used 2024 as our focus year, and we developed a carbon emissions tracking app, which has 3 parts. Firstly, a forum to prompt stakeholders to input this data. Secondly, a database which stores all of this data in a structured and tamper-proof manner. And lastly, a dashboard which showcases this data for management to have access to real-time information and make quick decisions. My experience working at Kobold Metals the last 6 months has been both challenging and rewarding. I've been given the opportunity to work with top players in the industry, and that has built my confidence. I am more confident in my technical ability, and I'm optimistic about the mistakes that I will encounter as I take on my career.
My name is 𝗲𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗲𝗃. I'm an intern at Kobold Metals and an electromechanical engineer from 𝗂𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗹𝗶𝗀 University. My experience at Kobold Metals has been fantastic. It's one where you get thrown into the deep end as you walk in, and it's good for interns like I am to get exposed to things in this particular manner, because you get to learn the real stuff early, and they get to take the kid gloves on you, and you get to learn a lot by doing more. My project was on power diligence survey, which was basically assessing the power options for the 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗃𝗵 mine, as well as understanding how viable these particular projects are for this particular project. So that's basically what I've been working on for the past 6 months, as well as going through different departments to understand the overall business that is the 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗃𝗵 mine.
Hi, my name is 𝗵𝗶𝗃𝗵𝗃𝗵. I'm a graduate intern at Kobold Metals. I studied development studies from the University of Zambia. And today I just finished my panel presentation on my project, which was focused on quantifying deforestation and coming up with a forest recovery strategy. My objectives were first to quantify deforestation caused by 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗃𝗵 from its operations, then identify the drivers that are contributing to deforestation, and coming up with how they're going to recover the forests that they've lost. I got some very good feedback, and it has made me feel appreciated. Thank you.
Hi, my name is 𝗀𝗶𝗵𝗃𝗲. I'm an intern at Kobold Metals, and for the past 6 months the journey has been quite exciting. I got exposed to new things, I worked with different people, I worked with different fields, and at least I got to see how I can apply myself in various ways in the mining industry. My project is about quantifying carbon emissions, specifically for the 𝗵𝗃𝗵𝗃𝗵 project. And doing this project, I learned a couple of new things. Firstly, the staggering fact that Hitman was mining alone produces over 100,000 tons of carbon dioxide, which is something new to me and something that was eye-opening for me. And I'm excited to see how far I can go in these sustainability efforts that I would like to see.
My name is 𝗵𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗲𝗃. I'm a civil engineer and an intern at Kobold Metals, where I was assigned a project on hydrogeological coal logging. This was an exciting project, even though it was far different from my field of study. I really enjoyed learning new things and understanding how information is collected during an exploration project and used in mining. I also got good feedback, having been voted the best presenter today. It was really exciting, and I look forward to more things at Kobold Metals.